Hello and welcome back to the Craft Mansion. I'm David, and in today's video I'll be continuing this bullet journal for those of you who have been following along with the monthly themes. I have the previous months over here. You can just click on this playlist over here. I've got my trusty box of supplies over here. Now today I'll be doing 2 months together because I need to catch up on my months. I mean, it's already March, so I'm going to do April and May together. The themes, well, the opening themes. For April, it will be Lord of the Rings and Middle-earth, and for May, it's quite obvious for us geeks, it's May the Force be with you. If you love books, I'm sorry, but I had to tear out a clean sheet. I did this since I needed to extend the intro page to April. I removed the excess paper, folded one end of it, and applied some glue. Then I glued it to the bottom and I could start sketching. As usual, I used various methods for sketching. Here I drew the shoreline by following a grid drawing bit by bit. I'll show you another example of this later on. I wanted this one to be quite accurate, so I traced a cutout for the outline. I colored in the whole thing with a golden brown watercolor pencil and then added a dark red tinge to the sea and lakes. Using water, I blended the colors and made it look stained and blotchy. Then I went back to the grid drawing method to copy all the mountains, trees and rivers. You can also print the image and put a grid on it and copy from that. I basically sketched everything before making the actual drawings, so moving to May, here I used another technique where I put my phone underneath the paper and traced from that. Once all the sketching was ready, it was off to the outlining and colouring. After finishing the intro page and monthly planner, I moved on to the weekly planners with a quote for each week. So I just finished the quote and I'm realizing that I made a mistake over here because it says everyday deeds of ordinary deeds. It should say folk. So I'm going to grab some brown paper and tear some of it. This should be fine. I'm just going to add some glue stick to the back and then stick it onto the paper. I realized the weekly page index wasn't working well. I've been barely using the index at all anyways, so I decided to jot down the month only. This will annoy perfectionists, and to reconcile with those of you who are perfectionists, I intend to cover up the weekly index of the previous months somehow to keep it somewhat consistent. Now everything's finished, so as usual I'll be going through the bullet journal of these 2 months. As I explained in the start, April is Middle-earth. And here is the map of Middle-earth, and instead of the name, I have April over here. This took quite some time. I didn't write all the names because some of the names are really small and detailed, and I couldn't write them on this scale with a felt pen. The tape over here, it's because it was tearing a bit, so I just put a little bit of tape there and it should be okay. Now the monthly planner, it's designed to look like the map, sort of, so there are the mountains over here that divide the different days. Then we have the first week, and we have these 2 colors, the yellow and blue, because they're I think the colors of Hercules. And there's this quote,
I know every mile will be worth my while,
which is sang by Hercules in the movie Hercules by Disney, and these are the muses found in the movie. Then we have a grayish blue, it's gone out of the grey, but there's a lot of blue in his grey. So I have his hat over here, and the quote is,
It is the small things, everyday deeds of ordinary folk that keeps the darkness at bay. Simple acts of kindness and love.
which is said by Gandalf the Grey in the first Hobbit movie. Then we have the peach and red for Wreck-It Ralph, and this is a quote. He says,
There's no one I'd rather be than me.
and we have a fun little illustration over here that's very blocky, that goes with the style of the video games in that movie. Then we have pink and blue for Luna Lovegood's glasses, and the quote is,
Things we lose have a way of coming back to us in the end, if not always in the way we expect.
which is from the Harry Potter franchise. Then we move on to May the Force be with you, and here we have BB-8, which is one of the droids in Star Wars. And then if we go to the next page, we'll have 2 more droids from Star Wars. We have R2-D2 and C-3PO. Then we have the lightsabers over here. I think this was quite fun to do, and I used Kylo Ren's lightsaber to create another division over here like this. Darth Maul's lightsaber opens both ways, so I used it on this flap over here. And now we can move on to the next page. There's yellow and blue because it relates to Beauty and the Beast and their colors. And the quote is said by the narrator. It's a bit different at the start, and it is,
Do not be deceived by appearances, for beauty is found within.
Then we move on to the next one. We have some green and some golden. I think those are the color of Sam. And here we have this silhouette. It is part of an iconic silhouette of the whole fellowship on a hill. And the quote is,
There's some good in this world, and it's worth fighting for.
which he says to Mr. Frodo. The next colors are red and gold, Iron Man, and the quote from Endgame is,
Part of the journey is the end.
Then the last one, we have some peach and some black, the colors of the face of Mickey Mouse, and this is a quote said by Walt Disney. Laughter is timeless, imagination has no age, and dreams are forever. And then for the last 8 days I couldn't really fit a quote over here, so I just used some random colors. So I'll be giving one example. I've showed some examples in my other videos, you can check them out. On Tuesdays I have a lecture that starts at 5:30, so we find the mark over here in the middle, circle because it's an event, and then we drag a line down to 8:30, which is over here, and that is psychology. Obviously, if you have some things, for example, let's go to May, if you have some things planned out beforehand, like some holidays or some birthdays, you can write them down over here so you can then remember to write them down when you do the weekly plans. And the next 2 months are ready to go, to be filled in with events and things. Well, in Malta it's very difficult to fill in this bullet journal right now because we are in partial lockdown, so there's really nowhere to go. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below with what you think I should do next, whether it be different props or ideas, challenges, whatever comes to mind. If you like what you've seen so far, then you can subscribe over here. You can also ring the notification bell down below. These are some more videos from my channel, and until next time, this is my bullet journal. I'm David, and this is the Craft Mansion.